Good morning, squad. Well, here we are, day 3 of the Kelsey Fitzsimmons trial. It's gonna be an interesting day. Prosecution said yesterday they may have one more witness this morning, and then they will rest. Yesterday, I don't know. Yesterday was weird. There were some interesting moments and some really disjointed, I'm not sure what this means moments. Also, the judge gets a field trip today. He will be heading out to Kelsey Fitzsimmons' old house. She doesn't even live there anymore. Sadly, she probably couldn't keep that house because she lost everything due to this situation. I'm curious what the judge will think when he sees the bedroom and the landing, if that has any impact on how he sees how the crime went down, because it is confusing what Noonan has to say about all of Kelsey's movements and like backing up 15 feet. I don't even think there was 15 feet in there, but I don't know. I'm curious if it supports their narrative in some way for the judge to see it. The judge, he's really funny because he's being very careful to be unbiased, and I think he's also kind of enjoying the fact that he's the one that gets the field trip this time. Excuse me. Sandy has popped in. Sandy, the true crime cat, has popped in to say hello. Kind of handy when we do these here in the living room. Then just about anybody could pop in and say hello. I have 4 cats and 2 dogs, so who knows? I'm very curious to see what the defense is actually going to put on. Um, I think it's very likely that Kelsey herself will testify to tell her side of what happened that day. So let's see what happens. I don't know. All of this is all kind of new stuff. Things are happening in a way that are different. I forget that most of what I watch are murders, and this is an assault. I mean, they want you to think this is an attempted murder on the side of the prosecution. That's pretty clear. Um, anyway, let's see what they have to say this morning. Thanks for being here, guys.
That the testimony you're about to give in this cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
Good morning. You can have a seat. Pull yourself right up to that mic. Yes, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In a nice loud voice, if you could please state your name and spell it for the record.
Yes, my name is David Strong, Strong.
And how are you employed, sir?
I'm a sergeant on the Mass State Police.
How long have you been employed by the Massachusetts State Police?
14 years.
And if you could just give us a brief chronology of your assignments while on the State Police.
Yes, I graduated the State Police Academy March 2012. Was assigned to patrol. 2018, began working out of the State Police Detective Unit. And then in 2025, I was promoted sergeant.
And is that the State Police Detective Unit assigned to the Essex District Attorney's Office?
Yes.
And as a trooper assigned to, and then as a sergeant assigned to the Essex District Attorney's Office, what are your day-to-day responsibilities?
We conduct death investigations, homicides, suspicious deaths, unattended deaths, non-fatal shootings or stabbings, as well as officer-involved shootings.
I'd like to direct your attention to June 30th of 2025. Were you working that day?
Yes, I was the on-call supervisor.
And what's it mean to be the on-call supervisor?
For 1 week a month, where we supervise the troopers. If they have any questions or if there's a homicide or a serious event, then we'll go out to assist.
And at some point during that, was it a Monday?
Yes.
And at some point during the day, did you get a call from one of your troopers?
I did.
And as a result of that phone call, what information did you learn about what you would be doing next?
I learned that there was an officer-involved shooting in North Andover. So I responded along with My detective lieutenant, as well as crime scene services and ballistics.
And a number of other troopers that you supervise?
Yes. Several other troopers from my office also responded.
Do you remember about what time of day, what address did you respond to?
125 Phillips Brook Road.
And about what time of day did you arrive?
I believe I arrived at around 6 p.m.
And what was the state of the address at 125 Phillips Brook Road when you arrived?
The residence was taped off. There's a perimeter outside the house.
And who was at the scene at that time?
At that time, it was just North Andover PD.
And effectively, what happened once the Massachusetts State Police arrived?
I joined Trooper Ortiz, who also works in my office, and we took control of the scene.
And what was one of the first things that you did while on scene?
I was given a brief summary by Lieutenant Daly about what had occurred.
And after learning from Lieutenant Daly about what occurred, what did you do next?
I drafted a search warrant for the residence.
And at some point, was the search warrant authorized by the court?
Yes.
And at that point, did you and members of the Firearms Identification Squad, Crime Scene Unit, and other troopers from the DA's office enter the house?
Yes,
And did you participate in the search of the residence?
I did.
And did you, at some point, focus on one particular room?
Yes.
And what was that room?
It was the bedroom on the second floor.
And was that the bedroom to the right or to the left?
To the right.
John, I'm showing you exhibit 51. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
And what's depicted in that photograph?
It's a green colored chest, as well as a chair and a box.
So the green colored chest you're referring to is this item here?
Yes.
And where was that in relation to the layout of the room?
It would be to your immediate left when you went to the room.
And is this the red box you're referring to?
Yes,
And is that the chair as you saw it that day?
it is.
At some point, did other members of the search team open the green chest?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yeah, will there be objections? to
No,
these?
Your Honor, not
Okay.
supposed to. They can
All right,
be
so
admitted.
then let's just have them marked and admitted.
Exhibit 97, so marked. Exhibit 98, so marked.
It was a 98,
97? And
97 and 98.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
may I display that, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Showing you exhibit 97, Sergeant Strong. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
And what's depicted in that photograph?
That's the inside of the orange colored chest with 2 firearms and firearms case.
Is the firearms case a black box?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you or other members of your team move those items?
Yes.
And where did you move them to?
To the bed.
Move to the where?
The bed.
The bed.
Showing you exhibit 98. What's depicted in exhibit 98?
It's a firearm that was located inside of the box, the gun box.
So that was what was in the closed box in the green chest?
Yes.
And what are these items here to the left?
Those were the other 2 firearms that were inside that same chest.
So there were 2 firearms, total of 3 firearms?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Trooper Storm, do you know what kind of firearms these were?
I believe they were all 6 hours.
And do you know what happened to the firearms after they were photographed?
Yes, the trooper assigned to my office recovered them and secured them in our evidence.
And is that where they are today?
Yes.
May I have one, Your Honor?
Yes.
Cross?
Trooper Strong, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Trooper, you're the lead investigator on the case from the state police, correct?
I am.
And you're a sergeant detective,
Yes, sir.
and you work at the Essex County District Attorney's Office?
Yes.
Part of your job is to investigate officer-involved shootings?
That's one of them, yes.
Yes. Okay. And do you also do homicides?
What's that?
Do you investigate homicides as
Yes,
well?
sir.
And in this case, when was the first?
Ortiz.
And when you received that call, what did you first do?
I notified my detective lieutenant, and we responded to the scene.
Is that Detective Lieutenant DeMeo?
Yes, sir.
And what time was the shooting?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Was it approximately 6 p.m.?
Around there.
And what time did you arrive?
Probably 25 minutes after I received the call, 30 minutes after I received the call.
All right, 6:30-ish, about
Yes.
6:30. What did you see when you got there?
The house was taped off, and there were detectives and police officers standing outside.
Now, I'm going to ask you to distinguish between North Andover police officers and state police officers.
Okay.
When you got there, who was in control of the crime scene?
At that time, Trooper Ortiz was there first, and I arrived.
Do you know when Trooper Ortiz got there?
It must have been 5 or 10 minutes before I got there.
All right, so doing the math, it's about probably 20 minutes where the North Andover police have exclusive control of the crime scene.
Yeah, approximately.
Did you recognize or know any of the North Andover police officers that were there?
No, sir.
Did you recognize or know the chief of police for North Andover?
No, sir.
Did you meet any North Andover police officers when you were there?
I spoke with Lieutenant Daly and Lieutenant Domenico.
Who's in charge of that crime scene in this circumstance? Is it the North Andover police or the Mass State Police?
Mass State Police.
And as a practical matter, as we said, that transfer could only happen when a state trooper gets there, right?
Yes.
And the first trooper's there about 6:20, probably,
Yeah, approximately.
and then you get there around 6:30.
Yes.
And what was what happened with respect to kind of taking over the crime scene?
We just made sure the house was secured. Nobody was inside. Nobody crossed the tape line, the perimeter. And then we knew that we needed to draft a search warrant.
When you got there, did you go in the house?
No.
When did you first go in the house?
Once we got a search warrant.
Were there any North Andover police officers in the house?
No.
And when you were there anyway?
Correct.
Do you know if that was by coincidence or by some order of someone that nobody be in the house or what?
It was by an order. Everybody knew that we were in a search warrant, and everybody knew not to be in the house.
Okay. When you first got there, what did you do while you were there before you worked on the search warrant?
I spoke with Lieutenant Daly and Lieutenant Domenico.
Where did that occur?
It was in this kind of near the school, outside of the house.
Was it on the school property or was it on the house property?
It was in the school. It would be in the street, so
The sidewalk or something?
yeah.
Was there any mention, to your knowledge or awareness, of any invocation of the town policy regarding drug testing?
No.
No conversation about that at all?
No.
All right. Did you speak with Officer Noonan at the scene?
No.
Where was Officer Noonan?
He wasn't on the scene.
Do you know what happened to him?
I believe he went to the hospital.
Okay. And do you know any circumstances about that?
I do not.
And you know that that's a common occurrence when there's an officer-involved shooting. The officer is always taken to the hospital, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's a precaution, but it also gets him out of investigative scrutiny, doesn't it?
I think it's policy.
Right. Okay. So then you decided to obtain a search warrant, and the reasons for that were what? That the person that was shot owns the house, and they're not around to consent. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
At some point, Ms. Fitzsimmons was charged with assault as well as assault with intent to murder, right? Assault, I should say it better. Assault by means of a dangerous weapon and assault with intent to murder, Officer Noonan, correct?
What's the relevance?
Well, it goes to what the investigators did, judge, potential investigator bias, that they overcharged the case. What happened at the scene? I think it's pretty basic. What did they charge her with?
Okay, why, how is that relevant to me as the fact finder in determining whether the Commonwealth met its burden on the charge that resulted? So
I think it just goes to potential investigator bias, wherever it may be found. I think it goes to how they perceive the situation early on. It's part of the case. It's part of the circumstances of the case, Your Honor.
all right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to sustain the objection. You can make a proffer if you want to protect the record, but I'm going to sustain it.
Okay, that's it, Judge, just for those issues. Thank you.
Thanks.
So Ms. Fitzsimmons was charged,
Yes.
and that was on what date? I don't want to quiz you. How about July 3rd?
July 3rd, yes, sir.
Okay, a few days later.
Yes.
Okay. And on July 3rd, had you talked to Officer Noonan?
Yes.
Was that the first time you talked to him?
Yes.
And where was that?
North End Police Department.
And what were the circumstances of that?
We met in a conference room at the police department. It was myself and Detective Lieutenant Robert DeMayo, as well as an attorney.
Okay. And that was an interview that was recorded on your body camera, correct?
Yes.
And the body camera obviously takes video and takes audio, right?
Yes.
And now in that interview, you put your body camera on the desk, right?
Yes.
And you didn't put the body camera on the person you were interviewing, though, right?
I don't recall exactly where it was facing when I put it down.
So, but don't you know that we don't have video of any of these officers when they're testifying from your body camera? Yes, I'm sorry, when they're interviewed. Thank you.
I tried to do them all consistently. I think I put it in the center of the table.
So you know that Noonan's not on video when he's testifying, right?
Yes.
So that was a deliberate decision you made to not video the witness that you were interviewing?
No.
Because, I mean, isn't it important to kind of see the witness's demeanor, reactions to questions, their emotional state when you have a body camera?
I felt it was just as important to get the audio as well as everybody else in the room.
And in this case, Trooper Strong, you wrote a report that's kind of like what we call a PC report, right?
For the
You know that terminology? Right.
Yes.
You, is that your only report in the case?
No, I drafted several reports.
Okay. And in terms of the report for court, you sort of encapsulated the statements of all the other people in the case, right?
I believe I summarized 3.
Just gonna use the picture.
Yeah.
showing you Exhibit 51. So it's fair to say that Exhibit 51 shows the door frame of the bedroom where the shooting happened, right?
Yes, sir.
And it shows this chest right here that I'm pointing to.
Yes.
The firearms, you observed those extra firearms that were in that chest, right?
Yes.
And it's fair to say those firearms had nothing to do with the shooting in that room, right?
Yes.
So that's like a chest. It has leather trim on it, right?
Yes.
It has kind of a top that swings back and opens up,
Yes.
and it has some stuff on it right now anyway in the picture whenever that was taken.
Correct.
Are you aware of when that picture was taken?
I'm not.
And it's fair to say that the end of the chest kind of lines up with the door frame, right?
Very close.
So to get into that chest, you don't really need to disappear behind the door frame, do you?
I don't know, sir.
I mean, there's a chair there as well, right?
I'm not sure where the chair was at the time.
Okay, but it's there in the picture, right?
They're in the picture.
And the pictures are offered as evidence of the crime scene, right?
Yes.
May I have one moment, please?
Sure, take your time.
What time did you get back at the bar?
It was before midnight.
All right, so I just want to get the time frames down when you were at the scene, okay? So you arrived there around 6:30,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And then you think Ortiz is there 6:20.
Yes.
When do you leave to go prepare the search warrant?
I read the search warrant in my cruiser.
Okay, on the scene.
Yes, sir.
And how long do you figure that takes you?
2 hours, approximately.
Then you, what did you do when you had the search warrant drafted?
I contacted the clerk.
Did you involve any assistant district attorney from the Essex DA's office?
Did I involve one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And when was that?
I believe on scene.
On scene? Who was on scene?
ADA Guptosi, Detective Lieutenant Robert DeMeo.
Did you have to go anywhere for the search warrant, or did you do that electronically?
I believe it's electronically.
And you emailed it to the clerk. Do you know when you emailed it to the clerk?
I do not.
When did you get approval?
It was sometime before midnight.
And while you were there, were you, obviously you're busy writing a search warrant, you got a lot to do. Were you also taking note here and there of any traffic into the house?
No.
Were you, did you know whether anyone from the North Andover PD went in and out of the house while you were writing the search warrant?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was there an order in place and you said everybody knew about it to not go in the house?
Yes.
So was that order, fair to say, as far as you're concerned, that order's in place the entire the entire time you're drafting the search warrant, getting approval, waiting to get it back, right?
Yes.
And so it's fair to say that no North Andover officers were supposed to be in the house from the time you got there, and that's presumably when you gave the order?
They never went back into the house after I got there.
Okay.
At any point.
And then no one went back in the house. And then once you had approval from the clerk on the search warrant, you went in the house very late.
Yes.
And so what time did you go in the house?
I don't recall. I believe it was just before midnight.
Who went in the house with you?
Crime scene services, ballistics, and other members from Essex SPDU, State Police Detective Unit.
Did any North Andover officers go in the house?
No.
One moment, please, Your Honor.
Yeah, take your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any recross? Sorry. Redirect?
Just one issue. Sergeant Strong, you were asked about the timing of the search warrant that you conducted at 125 Phillips Brook Road. Do you remember?
Yes.
And is your memory exhausted as to the exact time that the search was conducted?
Yes,
Would reviewing a report related to the search warrant refresh your memory?
it would.
May I approach?
Yeah.
Sir, direct your attention to paragraph 1.
Yes.
What time did you and other members of the Massachusetts State Police start the execution of the search warrants?
Approximately 11 p.m.
No further questions.
Any,
No question.
I'm sorry?
No question.
Okay, just for clarification, Sergeant, so the search warrant was approved by a judicial official.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall who that was?
I do not.
Was it, do you recall what court the person was from?
No, it wasn't Lawrence, Essex County. It was a different county, I believe.
Okay, it was like an on-call judge or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And is it fair to say that I had no involvement in reviewing or approving that search warrant?
Yes, it is.
And is it fair to say that Mr. Ruane, when you mentioned something about a clerk, had no involvement in the issuance or review of that search warrant?
He did not.
Counsel, either side wish to follow up on that?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sergeant. You may step down. Commonwealth, you call your next witness? All right, the Commonwealth Russ. All right. And is there a motion?
There is.
Okay.
I'll stand on the paper.
All right, so it's paper 90. You've been provided, Commonwealth, a copy?
Yes, I did it.
All right, defendant's motion for a required finding and not guilty. Let me just read it.